Well, we started out looking into the FBI's, I guess, looking into college basketball. So we decided to look into that as it pertains to college football. And while we were looking at that, we learned of players who corroborated each other's stories about Urban Meyer. And this was about 10 days ago. We were talking to players who went to the University of Florida. All of these players went to the University of Florida: Xavier Nixon, Gideon Ajabe, Josh Evans, and they started talking about things like something called the Valentine's Day Massacre, where I guess this was what they called the workout where guys' legs exploded, lactic acid built up in the legs. They did it to failure. And these are pretty tough guys, but they were all corroborating each other's stories about the physical abuse they experienced under this coach. So we had this amongst other video that we were obtaining to try to expose scandals in college sports. And then suddenly Thursday, this Urban Meyer story exploded. So we released a story the next day about Urban Meyer. And again, the jury's out whether this is just tough coaching, whether it crosses the line.
No.
But one of these guys, yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, James, the jury's not out. This is not tough coaching. There's a difference. This is abuse in some cases, physical, mental, and verbal. There's nothing about this that is tough coaching. I promise you that.
Fair enough. And Gideon does say that, he said he contemplated committing suicide. One of the common themes that we experienced, talking to these players was the emotional manipulation. So, like, one of the things that Gideon says, linebacker from the University of Florida, he says, quote, he's attributing this to Urban Meyer. He says, when you don't do good in practice, he'll use it as fuel to motivate you. He'll say, hey, I thought you were trying to get your mom out of the hood. Sort of a racial comment there that the coach makes. And a lot of these players these are tough guys. And one of them talks about getting a Gatorade bottle thrown at him, and you might think, well, that's just throwing a Gatorade bottle. But this was so impactful to the players, they contemplated throwing it back at him. So this is sort of the line probably has been crossed.
Well, yeah, and let me just follow that up. I spent my entire life being coached. And I can tell you, when a coach brings you to the point of contemplation of suicide, he's not coaching you. That's not what coaching is. Coaching is about motivating young men and women to push themselves beyond boundaries that they thought they could do. It's about inspiring guys to perform. It's about making players go beyond where they thought they could physically go in a way that when they look back on it, they realize that you made them better as human beings. It's not about again, when you contemplating suicide and the person motivating you to commit suicide is a coach, that's not coaching. This is a multi-billion-dollar business, folks. This isn't a game, okay? And so these programs at Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Auburn, they are bigger than everything else.
I'm discouraged and disappointed that none of the major. I appreciate you having me on your program. None of the major sports networks, any of the networks, want to cover the story at all. There's probably multiple reasons for that. It could be me. It could
because
be,
you know why, James? They've got skin in the game. They've got skin in the game because they've got TV contracts with all these conferences.
That's exactly right. I'm happy you said that. I wanted you to say that, not me. But they have skin in the game, and for them to cover this, it would damage their own economic paradigm. It would hurt. They have relationships with these organizations and these institutions. The ratings would go down. But this is a inconvenient truth, to borrow a cliche, and it's going to come out whether it's me or somebody else. And it's only a matter of time. It's going to happen. This iceberg will be exposed. We have more sources coming out of the woodwork. Stay tuned for our future stories and videos of more player testimony.